It gives me great pleasure to introduce week 32 of the Hastings Report with my wonderful co-host, Leon Pettit. As I always ask, Leon, how was your week?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah,
Good.
no dramas.
Other than Saturday, there was no dramas. We'll get straight into the SCFL, going straight into the game at the Polegrove on Wednesday, 29th. Bexhill 6, Loxwood 0. Half-time was 4-0. It was Thomas Vickers with a hat-trick, Corey Wheeler with 2, and Dominic Whitaker scoring the goals. A game that we expected Bexhill to win, and they absolutely put Loxwood to the sword at the Polegrove, Leon.
Yeah, it was one heck of a result. Didn't really see it coming, but obviously everything went right for him on the night.
Well, I did say I saw it coming last week, but you weren't here, chap. Right. You were busy having a social life. Right. Yeah. So then we move on to Saturday. It's Stenning Town 1, Little Common 1. So anyway, we've got a match report from Little Common. Thank you very much, Daniel Edridge, for sending this to me. His report is a dubious penalty 2 minutes into injury time ensured 10 men Little Common had to settle for a share of the spoils at high-flying Stenning Town. The Commoners were missing a trio of players in James Bunn, Lewis Parson and Ollie Weeks. But James Miriam Batchelor did make a return to the starting lineup. Fairly even affair with both teams having chances to open the scoring. Matt Crutwell making a good save with his legs to deny an early chance for the host, while Freddie Warren was denied by a late-ditch tackle as he prepared to pull the trigger at the other end. Warren once again went close when he muscled his way through on goal, but the home keeper repelled the goal-bound effort. The opening goal came in the 26th minute when a superb run from Sam Ellis saw him pull the ball back at the near post for Lewis Hull to prod home. The host saw a header drift wide and a long-range effort failed to trouble Crutwell in the goal. 5 minutes into the second half saw a pivotal moment in the match when Common were reduced to 10 men when Paul Feekins picked up his second caution in the afternoon. With a one-man advantage, the hosts started to dominate proceedings as Common looked to hold on to their slender lead. Despite dominating possession, Town failed to cause too many problems for the Common defence, often wasteful in the final third, limited to long-range efforts. The hosts were fortunate not to find themselves down to 10 men as well when Crutwell was caught late with a nasty-looking challenge, having already claimed the ball. Common's hard work was undone in the dying seconds after a coming together in the area. Oh, I don't know what to say about that. The referee pointed to the spot for another questionable decision. The resulting penalty was slotted home and Common were able to see out the remaining 2 minutes to claim a well-earned point. Anything to add to that, Leon?
Like you said in that little report there, considering what they're up, going down to 10 men, going away, also away from home, wasn't it? Yeah, going away from home, Stenning one of the better sides in this division. So, looking at that way, I think that's a good result for Common.
So then on Saturday, a match report on Bexhill. It was from the always wonderful Chris Van Rock. Bexhill 2, Hassocks 1. Bexhill needed a win to overturn the away loss to Hassocks, but this game was far from looking like anything than a 0-0 draw. Like pulling teeth in the first half. And without Tom Vickers, we just could not get going. The goal from Hassock, which was Joe Ball, got that goal before the break. And then an equaliser from Evan Archibald, who when fed a ball in front of the goal like that, he will always score. It was a classic striker, Evan is. It looked like that was it, but a really poor corner from Ollie Hull delivered along the ground, chipped up, and from somewhere, Joe Somerville scores. Hassocks must have felt like they were completely mugged, but ended 2-1. An awful but strange game. Much needed points to take us to 7th. Well, a fairly honest review there from Chris Van Rock. What's your thoughts on that, Leon?
No more than what Chris has just said there. He was actually at the game, so I'll leave it with him. He's the loyal supporter.
It certainly is. Right, and so we're moving to fixtures. So on the 8th, on Saturday the 8th, Bexhill have got Roffey coming to the Polegrove. Bexhill should win this at a canter, I'm sure. Roffey, bottom of the league. I don't expect anything but a Bexhill win. Would you go along with that, Leon?
Yeah, I concur.
On the same day, Little Common travelled to Horsham. Little Common should you'd think they'd turn up and take the points at the Fort Road Recreational Ground.
Yeah, you'd think so. Just based on both teams' form at the minute, you'd have to favour Little Common, but obviously wary of the fact that they're away. Got to go to Horsham, but no, I'd still fancy Little Common.
And the last fixture on the Bank Holiday Monday, which is an 11 o'clock kickoff, Bexhill travel to Little Common in a massive derby. Leon, well, it's a big-time derby. You never know how these things are going to go. What's your thoughts? Who's winning this one?
I might have to flip a coin with this one. With a local derby game like that, I think form goes out the window. You look at the form book, you'd go with Bexhill, but yeah, any local games like this, I think just goes out the window, and it'll be a good entertaining game. Maybe a bit feisty, who knows? But so from these sort of games I've seen before, they're normally good value for money. So yeah, I might have to see if I can get along for that one.
Yeah, maybe do that, a double header, and then maybe a bit of Hastings, or
exactly, mate. Yeah,
a bit of Hastings at 3.
Sounds like a good day.
So we move on to the MSFL, MSFL Prem. Ashurst Wood 0, Sedlescombe Rangers 4. Goals from Ben Gardner, Lucas Zon, Sebastian Huntley, and an OG make it 4-0, and that's an impressive win, despite Sedlescombe being quite depleted. A nice, comfortable victory there, 4-0, and that's the only actual game in the MSFL Prem. And in the Sussex Intermediate Cup, Hollington 3, Punnetstown 0. Zach McHenry, Dan Tewksbury and Paul Rogers getting the goals. And this was despite Lee Carey seeing red for Hollington. I did ask Hollington how and why it happened, and they never got back to me. So who knows? Seen on the socials afterwards, a lot of the Punnets boys stayed afterwards, and it was a good atmosphere all round. So they're through to the final. And who will they be playing, Leon?
They've got Jarvis Brook of the Southern Combination Division 2, and Jarvis Brook look like they're going to win that league, so that'll be a good game. Obviously, always back my local teams, but I think just based on the standards, how good Hollington have been this season, I can't see Hollington not winning it. But I mean, who knows what can happen in the cup final? But I'll obviously be back in the lines for this one. But it should be a really good advert for that level of football, and hopefully Hollington can go and represent the Hastings area and bring back that trophy again. So I think it was won by Sidley last season, and Hollington won it the season before, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it'd be good if the trophy can remain in the general Hastings and Rother area.
Yeah, absolutely. And right, so then we move on to the fixtures. Tomorrow's game, which is Ridgewood versus Battletown. This is the semis of the Montgomery Cup. All we could say really is good luck, Battletown. On Saturday, it's Reigate Priory have got the problem of travelling to the Gibbons, facing Hollington. I mean, mid-table Reigate, I think going to Fortress Hollington, there's no way they're going to get anything from that game, are they, Leon?
No.
Simple as. Right. The other game on Saturday, local derby, it's Sedlescombe Rangers travelling to Westfield. In a game I can't really call. Sedlescombe a funny old side, like you just can't predict them. So I'm going to go with a draw. What about you, Leon?
I'm going to go with Westfield win. I think they might just edge it, but it'll be a close game, no doubt. Saying that, one of them are going to win 5-0, aren't they?
Yeah. So moving over to the ESFL Prem, Sidley United 3, Robertsbridge United 1. Ryan Penny scoring for Robertsbridge, Logan Copley getting a couple, and Andrew Atkins getting the other goal for Sidley. Very comfortable for Sidley. The other match that took place in the ESFL Prem was West Hill Reserves 2, Crowhurst 1. And it's that man again, Conor McManus and Carl Young getting the goals for Westfield, with Nathan Harding getting the goal for Crowhurst. And it just so happens we've got those goals. And it just so happens we got the thoughts of Dean JINKS, who's the Crowhurst reserve manager, on that game.
Well, my social media expert gave me a rundown on the game.
Oh, did he? Here's one you prepared earlier. Lovely. Go on. Go on.
Yeah, I've got my script.
Yeah.
He said they started strong. They looked threatening. They got an early goal from Nathan Harding, but it was a depleted squad. There was quite a few players out from the week before, where they played pretty much 2 hours of football against Rye Town in the cup semi-final. So a lot of players out. Even the manager had to name himself as a sub on Saturday. Because they were so depleted through injuries, etc. He added that Westfield got 2 back and they just really dominated possession, and they comfortably won 2-1. Probably the manager would be disappointed that his team's lost, but knowing he was missing so many key personnel, he wouldn't have been too disappointed knowing that he got a scratch side out there on Saturday.
So move on to ESFL Division 1. Sandhurst 4, Battletown Reserves 0. James found that net 3 times. It's a prolific scorer at this level. Thomas Budd getting the other goal. Sandhurst getting back to winning ways with a comfortable victory against winless Battletown Reserves and stays second behind Tackleway. Talking of Tackleway, Tackleway with a very impressive 5-1 win against Parson Move. Cale Hackos with 2, Josh Eaton, Toby Payne, Nathan Smith getting those goals for Tackleway. Yes, another impressive win from those Tackleway boys. They're 6 points clear at the top, and it just so happens we've got one of those goals. Yes. ESFL Division 2, Suddlescombe Rangers Reserves 1, Nordium 75-3. Oscar Garcia Cruz getting a couple, and Mike Hollands, the goals for Nordium. It was a good win for Nordium, breaking that unwelcome run of 4 straight defeats. So well done then. Moving on, ESFL Division 3, Parkfield 4, Mountford United 0. Ethan Gabriel with 2, Stuart Lewis and Declan Otley getting the goals for Parkfield. No surprise there, as second place Parkfield made short work of Mountfield. Sovereign Saints Reserves 1, Orrington 0. Goal scorer Wayne Green, who's also the man of the match. And in games involving Division 3 sides, the Hastings FA Lower Division Cup semi-final, Crowhurst Reserves 4, Hawkhurst United Reserves 2, James McGrath, Anton Neal with 2, and Steve Payne. He also saw red in that game. Terry Robinson was immense in defence for Crowhurst, and it just so happens we've got the thoughts of Dean JINKS, the manager of Crowhurst Reserves, on that very game.
Early goal, I think 2 or 3 minutes into the game, we started off strong, confident passing. James McGrath opened the scoring. We seemed to settle into the routine there. It was quite good. Bit of a lapse of concentration that gave the goal away, which can happen. If you switch off for 2 minutes, the opposition will punish you, which is exactly what Hawkhurst did, and they deserved their goal. It sort of settled down after that. It was end to end, no really cut through chances. We then broke on the right, ball crossed straight into the middle, where Anton Neal was there to put the ball straight in the goal and make it 2-1. Made it 3-1 by half time. We looked fairly comfortable, but of course at 3-1 it's never comfortable. You either get that goal and you make it 4, or the opposition get one back and they're back in the game again. So you can't really take your foot off the gas. Half time came, made a couple of changes, mainly because of illness, etc. And the game pretty much stayed end to end for the sort of the next half an hour or so. Anton got his second of the game to make it 4-1, and we thought it was pretty much game over then. But to their credit, Hawkhurst just kept trying to get back into the game. Got a free kick on the edge of the box, put it over the wall. The wind caught it, and you couldn't have placed it any better. I'm sure David Beckham would have been thrilled with the positioning of the ball going in. But 4-2, and we just saw the game out from there. So, yeah, I was pleased with the win, and really pleased that we've got back into another final. But it's still a job to be done. It's all right being there, but you've got to win them.
Yeah, so, and in Division 4, JC Tackleway Reserves 2, Suddlescombe Rangers Development 3, Tom Akerley with 2, and presume an own goal for Tackleway. The goals were from Jamie Pelling, those 2 goals. Suddlescombe reduced that gap at the top as they're chasing Wellcroft to 6 points. Well, unfortunately, no team of the week this week. So, Leon, I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week.
Okay, it gives me great pleasure here to have Dean JINKS here, the reserve team manager and club secretary for Crowhurst. A massive pleasure to have you on, sir.
Thank you for inviting me, Chris.
Absolutely, you're more than welcome. The reason we've got you here is Crowhurst seems to be doing quite well this season. Last time I looked, I think you're in. Was it the first team's in 2 finals? The reserve side is in 2 finals.
That's correct. Yeah.
You've got your youth side. I'm sure I read that they're in a final as well.
They are indeed. Yeah, we got 5 teams in finals in this season. That's a fantastic achievement.
Clearly very greedy, but you want all the silverware. Could you just give us a kind of just run down like what's been obviously fantastic for your boys? Just tell us how that's happened.
The club operated with 1 team for quite a few years. And then in 2022, we launched a reserve team. So we ran with the 2 teams. So that was the first season for the reserves. And in that year, the first team won the FA and District Intermediate Cup. And the reserve team that were in Division 4 of the East Sussex Football League won that division, as well as the equivalent of the Hastings FA Lower Divisions Cup. So they did the double in their first season. So the reserves moved up to Division 3 this year, and it's been a mixed bag of results for both the first team and the reserves in the league. The reserves are still in with an opportunity of winning the league.
We can say that's 7 games in hand, but if you win them all, I think you go joint top.
I think we go a point ahead.
Oh, do you? I say, yeah.
Win all the games. But of course, you've got to win them. It's all right having games in hand, but you'd rather have the points in the bag. But yeah, the first team are now in 2 cup finals. The reserves are in 2 cup finals. And earlier this year, we merged with Crowhurst Youth to incorporate the younger teams coming through the conveyor belt of players into adult football as well. And our under 13 team is now in the Rother Cup final. Oh, yeah. So yeah, absolutely fantastic news for the club and you know the people that come and watch us in Crowhurst.
Just quickly before I forget, so these 4 finals for the first, can you just run through where they're going to be?
Yeah, the finals are that there's no date yet for the under 13s game, but they'll be playing Ringmer Rovers Juniors on the 21st of April. The first team will be playing Westfield Firsts at the Pilot Field. 7:45 kickoff. The 25th of April, the reserves will be playing Catsfield Firsts, again at the Pilot Field. On the 2nd of May, first team will be playing Punnetstown, again at the Pilot Field.
Right, and you'll be upsetting Simon Rudkins, you will play.
We know how Simon loves you fit. But we've let him off with the last game. So the 9th of May, the reserves are playing Ticehurst Firsts at the Beaconsfield at Howsham Town.
Brilliant. Okay, well, it's an incredible achievement. I've not heard of it. I mean, you just in terms of you're the reserve team manager.
Yes.
Right, we've already spoken. Like, yes, you've got those games in hand. How does the squad feel? Do they think that they can push on and actually win the league?
I'm quietly optimistic because I know what my players can achieve. They're all extremely excited about the prospects of winning a treble. They can do it if they turn up on the day and play as well as I know they can play. They can beat anybody. We had the pleasure of playing Rye Town first team this season, who've been absolutely phenomenal in the Premier Division. And I think we were the first team to actually score against them this season. Even though the final result was 3-1 to Rye, we weren't thrashed. We gave a good account of ourselves, and I think the boys did really, really well.
I mean, is there any magic to like the way you've got these teams there? Is it a special beer bonus to get into the?
No. I think we've got a good combination of older heads and youth players as well. It's a great mix there of players into their early 30s and mid 30s, and also some youngsters coming through as well, which I think is a blend that you have to have in any successful team. The players have gelled really well. From last year, we had a couple of new faces come in this season, and they've just slotted straight into the squad. They like a bit of banter between themselves. We've got a chat group that they're all winding each other up about their own favourite teams. There's a really good atmosphere between the players on and off the pitch, which I think is important as well.
No, I see you guys have you formed a third team for next season, haven't you?
We're hoping to, yes. We've applied for a third team to come into the East Sussex Football League next year. It's not been decided by the league yet. I think they just want to get this season over with before they even think about next year yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hope, that we can have a third team. And of course, that really starts the conveyor belt for the youth teams when they come through to step into adult football. Obviously, there'll be those players who can progress higher into the reserves or the front side, but also those players that may not have aspirations of playing at a higher level can still play adult football at a decent level.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go on to say. Basically, when we'll start seeing that, some of those youth teams start to come through. So we've talked about it before in this podcast, the likes of Sedderscombe have done the same, haven't they? They're first at a very good level. Pass and Move are looking to do the same. So I think, I've definitely commend clubs that do that sort of thing. I think it's the right way to go about it. Blood these youngsters in, and
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Football.
I know from previous experience from when I first was involved in youth football, I was heavily involved in St Leonard's youth. And when that folded, we were actually invited to bring the whole youth section down to Hastings United. So we were the actual founders of the first of the youth teams at Hastings United.
Oh, right.
So we know how important it was to have a youth section on board where you can get these players coming through and they can see where they can actually get to by coming along to the pilot field and watching the games.
Dean, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for coming on, and the best of luck for the rest of your season. And I'll try and catch you at one of these finals.
Yeah, we're more than welcome. You'll see us at the pilot field. Thank you very much for inviting me along, and hopefully we'll see you at the pilot field.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Thanks very much.